The Battle Frontier gave Ash the hardest run he's ever faced. Sure, he beat most Frontier Brains on his first try, but he also lost badly to one Frontier Brain, and for the first time ever he lost twice to the same trainer. Despite only needing 7 symbols, he actually had 10 battles, making this a proper top 10 list. We ranked his Kanto, Johto, and Hoenn gym battles thus far, and in this video we'll be ranking every Battle Frontier battle from worst to best. Greta takes the worst spot on this list, and to be honest, it's one of the most forgettable Battle Frontier episodes. I guess it was regrettable. What's ironic is that if you move the letters around Greta, it spells great, but this battle is far from that. Greta is a fighting type expert, and she has Hariyama and Metachan. Ash goes with Grovyle and Snorlax. Grovyle is in his Jabra era, so he gets taken out of the battle pretty easily, and so it's up to Ash's Snorlax. We already have seen Snorlax come in clutch in important battles, and this was no different since he was an absolute unit in this battle, but sadly that's my problem with it. Don't get me wrong, I love Snorlax, but this battle was just so heavily skewed in his favor. Snorlax took hit after hit after hit, and it was for super effective damage from super high power fighting type moves like Focus Punch and High Jump Kick. And to top it off, Snorlax was frozen by an Ice Punch, but Ash just uses Rest while he's frozen to recover all the damage and end it with the Body Slam. This is the infamous episode where Snorlax used 6 different moves in one battle too. There were too many things thrown in Ash's favor, which could have easily been written better to make it seem more reasonable. There always has to be a worse battle for every list, and this is that battle.
Narrowly avoiding last place, we have Ash vs Brandon Part 1. This battle is a joke. No, literally. It all happened because Ash is carelessly messing with these ruins that he gets possessed by the ancient king of Pokelantis. So for most of the battle, it is the evil king who's battling the Pyramid King, not Ash. This resulted in a battle filled with dirty tricks like the evil king commanding Sceptile to destroy the roof, and then use the referee as a shield. The battle is objectively invalid, but at least it's super memorable and makes for great TV. And more importantly, it does a great job at setting Brandon up to be a trainer with great self-confidence and a strong sense of justice, as he strikes a brave battle deal with the evil king, that if Brandon loses, he's gonna bow down to him and give him all his Pokemon. All this because he knows that a Pokemon battle is the only way to bring Ash back. And on top of that, he's shown to be a seriously strict, rationally intelligent trainer as he carefully calls for the right moves with his partner Regirock. Brandon's stern and vigilant command on the battlefield allow him to bring Ash back for a brief moment and ultimately defeat the threat of the evil king. So when the inner Ash instructs Pikachu to use Thunderbolt on him, Brandon quickly uses the Pokeball to once again seal shot the evil king's spirit. Ash was a foolish kid the first time he battled Brandon, but a few episodes later, he's grown and feels that he is finally ready to get his actual first chance of battling the Pyramid King. Ash vs Brandon Part 2 is number 8 on our list. It may not be the most grandeur battle seeing that Ash still loses, it's only a 1v1, but honestly, it's a battle that's very well executed. This time, Brandon uses Registeel, which perfectly sets up Regice as the final boss. And as for Ash, he actually makes a pretty good choice by setting out the Fire-type Torkoal. It's a battle between 2 slow, round, defensive Pokemon, which is a rare sight in the anime. Kinda reminds me of the Flannery battle. So it's nice to see these 2 Pokemon in action. Torkoal is often regarded as one of Ash's worst Pokemon of all time, but this battle proves otherwise. It manages to land a couple of hits on the Iron Pokemon and successfully stop most of its attacks. Literally, Registeel is only able to hit Torkoal because of Lock Arm, which is a testament to its defensive capabilities. Then when it's paralyzed, Torkoal charges in straight and inflicts Registeel with the same paralysis. Towards the end, Torkoal is revealed to have learned Heat Wave, a move it uses to counter Registeel's Sandstorm and trap it inside Scorching Sands. Finally, it jumps into the Vortex and uses the Whirlwind to power up its Body Slam. This battle has Ash outsmarting Brandon every step of the way, but Registeel out-brawns Torkoal and ends up winning the battle. If the first Ash vs Brandon battle highlighted Brandon's personality, this battle highlighted his sheer strength. Brandon praises Ash for this battle, which is a great contrast from their last one. Ash still has a long way to go, but this battle showed promise, that he's already come so far, setting the curtains for his third and final battle against the Pyramid King.
Lucky number 7 goes to the other trainer that gave Ash some trouble in the Battle Frontier saga, Anabel. This was his first loss after winning 5 consecutive Frontier symbols. Ash showed up and challenged Anabel to a battle, and she's basically a light version of Sabrina. Her Alakazam just straight up rocked his team on their first battle. Alakazam was there to knock out both Corphish and Tauros with relative ease before Pikachu got the revenge knockout. Mind you, this Alakazam has Focus Punch, and look at his attack stat. The fight between Alakazam and Pikachu was actually a pretty good back and forth, with Pikachu getting knocked out of the ring at one point, but luckily they didn't call it a knockout. Eventually Pikachu is able to turn the tide and knock it out, and Anabel responds with a Metagross. Another powerhouse, but if it's one thing about Pikachu is that he always has a good battle record against his Pokemon species. However, this time he came up short, giving him his only ever loss to Metagross. This battle had a lot of positives, like showing that Ash was not going to sweep his way through the Battle Frontier, but it gets a bit overshadowed by him losing twice to the very next Frontier Brain. They should have just had Anabel show up earlier. I also personally don't like it when the battle always has to come down to the last Pokemon, so for me personally, Anabel getting the win 2 over Ash was a positive thing. I do think they should have made her Alakazam seem so incredibly powerful, especially since Corphish was just seen doing so well in earlier battles in the Battle Frontier.
Coming in at number 6 is Ash vs Spike Queen Lucy. I'm sure many of us would agree that this is perhaps the most unmemorable battle of the Battle Frontier saga, hence its middling placement. When we think of Lucy in the anime, all we remember is her crush on Brock and her having Brock-like Pokemon. But analyzing the battle, it does have a number of great moments. Donphan vs Seviper was a good start. It's nice to see Ash battle a formidable Seviper for a change. It's agile and knows some great coverage moves like Flamethrower, giving Donphan a tough time on the battlefield. My favorite move is when Seviper uses Poison Tail in the water to block Donphan's Hyper Beam. On the other hand, we have Donphan, who's on its first official match after evolving from Phanpy. Donphan maneuvers the battlefield very well, bouncing off of things, doing some nice defense curl plus rollout combo, and further boosting its rollout by using Seviper's Flamethrower against it by doing a rolling Flame Wheel, which scored Ash the first win. Lucy then sends in Milotic as her final Pokemon and proceeds to one-shot our poor elephant. And here it's shown Lucy's true battle style, all-out hyper offense. Pikachu is sent to finish the job, and at first this battle looks awfully familiar. Yeah, it does feel like a cheaper version of Ash vs. Juan. Even the battlefield looks similar. But unlike Juan's Milotic, who uses defensive tactics, this Milotic of Lucy is an attacker and would show no mercy to its opponents. Then when Pikachu's Volt Tackle paralyzes Milotic, it reveals its secret weapon, Facade, which doubles the damage when the user is paralyzed. But Ash finds yet another tactic by commanding Pikachu to use Thunderbolt on itself, defying the loss of electrical energy, powering up its attack, cutting through Milotic's Twister, and landing the finishing spinning Volt Tackle. Ash vs Lucy is a good battle, especially on the rewatch. But its forgettability aspect likely stems from Lucy not feeling as challenging as the other Frontier Brains, and the battle not having any iconic, mind-blowing moments.
At number 5 we have the second match between Ash and Anabel. This was a rematch done very well, albeit it was done too quickly after the first one to make it feel too earned. One episode after his 2-0 defeat to Anabel, Ash challenges and defeats Anabel to win the ability symbol. I guess her ability is to be able to telepathically communicate with her Pokemon. She starts off with the Alakazam that gave Ash so much trouble before, this time being knocked out by Corphish before he goes down to Metagross. Now it's time to fight Brains with Brawn, as Tauros had his battle with Metagross, this time resulting in both of them knocking each other out. Then it's time for Anabel's ace Espeon. After already having 2 hard-hitting Psychic-type Pokemon, her ace is Espeon, which is kinda nice, as she has the best Psychic non-legendary Pokemon from Gen 1, 2, and 3. And fun fact, Espeon is the only non-Kanto or Hoenn Pokemon used by any Frontier Brain, which makes sense as they are in Kanto and it is in the Hoenn portion of the anime. Regardless, it's Pikachu's time to shine, as they battle it out. It's a battle of 2 Pokemon owned by Red, and in 3 minutes, Espeon is defeated. This battle had good back and forth between all Pokemon, and it was a good redemption battle for Ash to gain the victory, but it should have been a bit longer in my opinion. Overall, it was a solid battle, giving it the 5th place of our list.
Taking the 4th spot is Ash vs Factory Head Noland, the battle that started it all. The Battle Frontier is said to be an elite league that caters only to high-ranking trainers. So we fans can't wait to see how the Kanto Battle Frontier is like in the anime. And boy oh boy are we surprised to see that the first battle is one where Ash has to defeat the legendary Pokemon Articuno. To be fair, Ash did this to himself, by choosing Articuno as his opponent. I mean, it'd be awkward if he decided to choose like this Trapinch instead. And Ash really prepared for this battle, as he called Liza to send in his old friend Charizard. Charizard vs Articuno is a classic battle, still regarded as one of the best 1v1 battles of all time, simply because of the sheer tenacity that these 2 Pokemon exude. Articuno's majestic presence, coupled with Charizard's burning passion, makes for an exciting aerial battle. This battle is less strategy and more power, as each Pokemon dish out their powerful attacks, with Articuno even wielding Water Pulse to deal with fire types, and Charizard learning Dragon Breath to further assert itself as a true dragon. Now as Articuno manages to freeze one of Charizard's wingtips, The fiery lizard is revealed to have learned Overheat to melt the ice and even the playing field. The battle ends when Charizard manages to catch Articuno by the wing and deliver its signature finishing move, Seismic Toss. Overall, Charizard vs Articuno was gonna determine whether the Battle Frontier arc would be worth our time, and this battle perfectly sets the stage, promising that the Battle Frontier is different from your ordinary gyms. It's on a whole new level of prestige and power, a set of esteemed battle facilities that you never want to miss.
The bronze battle goes to Spencer. He has one of the most unique battles in the entire history of the anime, as it isn't in a set location, but rather he uses the entire forest as his battlefield. It goes from cliff, to waterfall, to the forest, to the beach, and that was just really fun to see. Not to mention the boy Spencer has some crazy cardio routine, because he's able to run and not break a sweat at this old age. Spencer's Shiftry put up a great fight against Sceptile, both being evenly matched for a long time before Sceptile finally manages to defeat it. Then Spencer's Venusaur defeats Heracross, getting revenge for all the times he violated poor Bulbasaur, and then it gets knocked out by Swellow. Then Spencer's Ace Claydol was a force to be reckoned with, and honestly I find that this Pokemon suits Spencer very well. He used it to perfection, really taking advantage of the sandy terrain of the beach to be able to knock out Swellow before being defeated by Sceptile after a hard-fought battle. This is the battle where Sceptile used Solar Beam for the first time, and in the anime, Solar Beam is basically the Kamehameha. What makes this battle shine is that the locations were just so well utilized, it made every segment of the battle feel fresh. It also helped that the Pokemon were all pretty evenly matched, with the only dull part of the battle being Venusaur vs Heracross. Like when they tackled each other at the same time, it felt like we were still in Route 1. Spencer's battle with Ash was a good standard for what all Frontier battles should have been like, but it just doesn't have the edges refined like the top two battles did, which were true masterpieces. So with that being said, what's the second best battle?
The second best Frontier battle, and arguably one of the best double battles of all time, is Ash vs Dome's Tucker. After a lackluster showing of double battles in Ash vs Tate and Eliza, Ash vs Tucker is all that you can ask for and more. It's got strength, strategy, and most importantly, teamwork, brilliantly assembled on a glorious stage. Among the Frontier brains, it is Tucker who best embodies their own Frontier symbol. He's got the tactic symbol, and this battle is filled with clever tactics that never fail to astound the crowd. With him is his hyper-offensive Arcanine, who takes on the attacking position with its brutal battle style and lightning speed. Perfectly paired with it is a defensive Swampert, who takes on the guarding position, and would unleash attacks from behind as Arcanine is distracting their opponents. Together, they disperse a combination of fake-outs and creative use of moves, climaxing on their signature Fire-Water Fusion, a deadly combo that even May has used twice in her future battles. Now Ash on the other hand uses his Hoenn team for this battle and places full trust on Corphish and Swellow. These two started out as the underdogs, but their resilience and unwillingness to lose keep them alive on the battlefield. So when Ash sees an opening, or rather a blind spot in the mist, he capitalizes on this to bait Tucker into thinking that the attack is coming from the front. But then Swallow and Corphish glide past their opponents and redirect their attacks towards Arcanine and Swampert's behind, catching them off guard and snagging the victory. It's an amazing ending, a tactical triumph against a tactical trainer. Maybe if there's one small thing to improve on this battle is maybe they should have allowed Arcanine and Swampert to take more hits before fainting. But overall, it's a truly impressive and often overlooked battle that has everything. But there's one more Frontier battle that surpasses them all.
And that battle is of course Ash's final Frontier battle against Brandon. As is tradition, Pokemon loves going all out and making the final battle of the region the best one, except you, Kanto, and this is no exception. This battle had so much going for it. Where do I begin? Firstly, Ash never lost twice to a gym leader before challenging them to a third time, so there's that. And Brandon was the perfect trainer for Ash to look up to as he was leagues above anyone he has ever battled up to this point, and what I love about this battle is that it's a 4-on-4 battle, something that's extremely rare. Actually, can you name any 4-on-4 battles? Ash uses his OG roster going with Charizard, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Pikachu, and that gets points on its own, especially since this was the last time Best Buddies Squirtle and Bulbasaur ever had an official battle. The battle goes pretty back and forth, with Charizard surprisingly being the only one not to score a victory in the battle as Dusclops had its number. Bulbasaur is able to come in and even the score in the battle, defeating Dusclops. Brandon calls in Ninja, so Ash swaps for Squirtle, and the Squirtle squad member is able to defeat the pesky bug, giving Ash the slight lead. Then Brandon calls for Solrock, which actually goes crazy, knocking out Squirtle with Solar Beam. The Battle Frontier loved this move. Bulbasaur comes back in, and speaking of Solar Beam, they both knock each other out with Solar Beam, meaning 4 of the first 6 Pokemon got knocked out with Solar Beam. The final matchup is Brandon's Regice against Ash's Pikachu, one of the most iconic battles in the history of the Pokemon anime. The Battle Frontier started with Ash going against a legendary ice Pokemon that belongs to Trio, and it's ending the same way. After a legendary Volt Tackle, Regice is defeated and Ash claims the Brave symbol and has officially earned all of the Frontier symbols of the Kanto Battle Frontier. This battle was really fun to watch and stretched over an episode in length as it deservedly should have. All of the Pokemon here felt intentional and nothing was wasted. Bandon was the perfect hurdle for Ash to overcome in his time in the Battle Frontier, and the battle was well matched with that expectation. Ash used a variety of Pokemon during the Battle Frontier, and as always I like to go over their battle record. In the 10 battles he used 12 different Pokemon. Torkoal and Heracross were the biggest losers, both only being used once and getting defeated in their only appearance. Charizard, Donphan, and Squirtle each battled 2 Pokemon and went 1-1. Slightly worse was Tauros, who had battled against 2 Pokemon and went 1-2 because there was a double knockout. Corphish and Sceptile were actually used in 3 battles, but during these 3 battles the Hoenn Pokemon only went 2-2. Snorlax was undefeated as he went 2-0, single-handedly defeating Greta by himself. 2 of Ash's most reliable Pokemon ever, Bulbasaur and Swellow, found themselves going 2-1 in the Battle Frontier. And to no one's surprise, Pikachu was the highest performer in the Battle Frontier, appearing in 4 battles and going a very respectable 4-1, only losing to Anabel's Metagross, but defeating 3 Frontier Brain aces and Alakazam, who was basically the ace of that battle. That means for the second time in a row, Ash's Pikachu earns himself the MVP of the region. And there you have it, the Battle Frontier Brain battles rank from worst to best. Are there any changes you would have made to the list? What does your list look like? Let's have a discussion in the comments below, but for now we have to pack our bags and head to the Sinnoh region, so we're out. Peace.